What's up guys, my name's Diachronic Heroes here on this Destiny video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a review on the exotic fire sword called the RAZE-LIGHTER. Now this weapon is an absolute beast. Just exotic swords in this game in general are absolute beasts. The swords in general are just so much fun. But this one is an exotic fire sword. Has to be one of the most interesting of the bunch, one of the most highest damage out of the bunch. I'm going to be describing its abilities, its buff, its greatness, its slowness, and all that stuff in this video. If we can get one like on this video, it will definitely make my day. If you guys can hit that one like, I will shout out from the rooftops. And you guys will know that I've received one like. I'll make sure you guys say I thank you guys on Twitter for that. So before I actually go into the review of the weapon, I'm going to try to briefly describe how to get the weapon. It's basically the same as the other ones. If you want to skip it, skip to this time right here in the video. It's going to be on screen right now, and it can get you straight to that review. The rest of the first part of the video is just going to be telling you how to get it. I'm going to go briefly over it. It's very similar to the previous one. If you know how to do the other ones, you just got to figure out what materials you need, and it's pretty much the same. To be able to get the exotic sword, you first need the legendary sword. To get this, you first need to be able to complete the main storyline as well as Dread Patrol mission, which is rewarded right after the story mission. Complete that, then Lord Shaxx will give you the sword, be able to give you the option to buy the sword, which you need 25 Hadium Flakes and 25 Helium Filaments. It's different for each damage type, but in Solar, you need Helium Filaments. What you want to do for the Hadium Flakes is just random chests around the Dreadnought. Just start patrolling that area until you get 25 of those Hadium Flakes, and then obviously 25 Helium Filaments. Shouldn't be that difficult, but you can get those on the moon. Once you have your legendary sword, what you want to do is start infusing as many legendary or heavy items as you can into it until you get it above 282 attack on your legendary sword, as well as fully upgrade your legendary sword, which means all the upgrades. You can put Motes of Light into it. That will upgrade all of its stuff, put experience into the weapon, and get it up faster. That's what I recommend because it is much faster, but obviously do the first part before the second. Once you have it fully upgraded as well as getting it to 282 attack, then Lord Shaxx will start giving you the first part of the exotic part of this quest. The first part of this quest is to get 25 kills in Crucible with your sword. The sword can be empty. You can hit them with the hilt of the sword. It can be, you can also get heavy ammo and kill them, which is much easier obviously, but what I recommend doing is just popping into a rumble with 2 other friends, so half of you, so like 3 friends, you and 2 other friends, so 3 people, basically half the lobby, with everybody just using swords. Sometimes other people in the lobby will start using swords, so it actually is a lot funner to do, as well as just you and your friend just pick a place where you want to fight, where nobody else goes, and just say, hey, let's meet here, and just beat each other up. I don't endorse you guys boosting. That is what people do for this part, but it is something that it has been done before. Once you got your 25 kills, then what you want to do is get 50 kills on ultras or majors. What I recommend doing is just going to the Cosmodrome right at the spawn of the patrol, just right to the left. There's going to be this little building that goes downstairs. Just go down that stairs. It's going to hook a right along the wall, and you'll see some enemy markers on your right. You want to kill these 3 hive. They're all going to be majors or ultras, and those 3 guys have yellow health. Kill those 3 guys, go back to the top, wait a little bit, and then go back down, and you can keep refreshing every single time and kill them all with the swords, and you will be able to get that 50 Cabal kills, no problem. Once you've gotten all of these kills, head back to Shaxx. He will start giving you the next part of the quest, which is to kill Ekthar, the Sword of Oryx. To kill him, you need to head into the Dreadnought Patrol and just start heading straight. So head straight right past the Sunburner, that main ship, Cabal ship. Head right past it, to the right of it, and then once you get into the next area, just start hanging along the left wall, and then there's going to be an opening on the left. Again, the big open chasm of like emptiness. Just keep on holding off to the left there until you get to the passageways into the Asylum. This is the prison area. Keep going through the Asylum. Go down below, go around, take the U-turn, and keep going until you hit that big door that is close. There's going to be 3 guys there who have like Warden of something, different shields and all that stuff. What you want to do is damage all of these guys until they're about to die, basically with enough health that they'll survive, but a small amount of health that they can all die in 1 super hit, which is what I recommend. What you want to do is actually kill all 3 of them with 1 super, either the Gunslinger or the Sunbreaker or the Stormlock. Basically, you have to kill them with the same single super to be able to open the door, which is a little special thing of getting inside, is you have to kill all of them with that 1 super. I recommend the Sunbreaker because you can throw out like 7 hammers. Basically, have to kill all 3 of those wardens, 1 super, the door will open. Ekthar will be on the other side of this door. He's like this big dark blade gatekeeper looking guy with the sword. And of course, I recommend highly that you pull out your sword and have a lightsaber battle with him, because when I fought him, all I was hearing in the background was And I really want you guys to experience the same thing that I did. Next part of this quest, which is to get 500 kills with the solar abilities for the solar sword. Obviously it's solar abilities, void would be void abilities. With whatever character you are, it doesn't matter what class, but obviously I recommend not doing the void abilities on the Titan, which is probably the hardest one. For me, for example, I was a hunter with the void weapon, so I could just do the Night Stalker abilities, just get 500 kills with the void abilities, grenades, melees, super, any of that stuff. I recommend going on the Dark Below mission. It's gonna be one of the Dark Below, is it? Or it's the Dark Beyond. It's the Dark Beyond. It's the Dark Beyond mission, I'm sorry. It's the mission that came with the game, level 7 mission. Put it on the light 240 difficulty, so it makes it so the knight can't be killed because you activate the checkpoint. Keep going to that mission until you get the place where we've woken the hive. And just keep killing those guys off, and you get tons of kills with your abilities and stuff, and keep doing that until you have 500 of those ability kills. Once you've done that, then you want to go head off into the moon, where you're going to start picking up helium filaments. Helium filaments specifically for the solar sword. The void sword is obviously going to be the relic iron, and spin metal for the arc shield sword. All those specifically are in other videos if you want to check those out. What you want to do on the solar one is just start picking up helium filaments, as many helium filaments as you physically can, until your pockets absolutely burst, and you're never going to want to pick up helium filaments in your life, because you basically have to pick up around 250 helium filaments, because you have a 5% chance out of these helium filament piles, not the chests, the helium filament piles. Same thing with all those spirit balloon piles, relic iron piles. From these piles, you have a 5% chance of the legendary item to get, the legendary material to actually drop for you to be able to get it, and you need 10 of those, and it took me about 2 to 3 hours every time I did it. It's just a big grind fest. Just go around the area until things spawn, and then once you've gotten everything in the area, go to the next area and keep going back and forth until you have all of them. This is obviously the worst and most boring part, but at the end, you will never need relic iron again because you'll have so much of it. Once you've done that, then you want to go back to Shack's and wait for Arms Day. Arms Day starts at 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every single Wednesday. Basically, the gunsmith arrives with new weapons, and that counts as like a material delivery. Once that happens, go back to Shack's. He'll say, here is your final mission. You need to kill a specific knight, and then within 30 seconds of killing him, then kill Darkblade. There's gonna be a light 300 strike. That's the only place that those wardens spawn. It's gonna be a light 300 version of the Darkblade mission. Get through the mission, get to the boss fight, and that's where the specific little mini challenge comes in. Throughout the Darkblade fight, 3 knights will spawn, each with different colored shields. Red, you got solar, void, arc, all of these swords, each one with different names. What you need to do is find the one with the red shield. Obviously, the solar for the red shield, void for the purple shield, and so on for the blue for the arc shield. What you want to do is keep one of the wardens alive. Technically, you can do all of them at once, or 2 of them at once, but the easiest way to do it is to kill off the other 2 wardens as they spawn, and then leave the last one, whichever one you want to do, solar for solar sword, and then you want to keep him alive and start beating down on Darkblade. Get Darkblade to about 10% health, you know, that little area where it goes diagonal on the left side of his health, and get him to that little point right there, so you can actually be able to kill him within 30 seconds killing the other warden. Because the challenge is that you need to kill the specific warden, I think his name is Adleg, and then within 30 seconds of him dying, you need to kill Darkblade. So what I recommend doing throughout the fight is kill off all the ads, all the thralls, cursed thralls as they appear, kill off the knights as they appear, obviously keep the one alive that you want. For this one, it's gonna be the solar sword. Keep the solar one alive until you get Darkblade to about 10% health, then kill off the solar one and very quickly kill off Darkblade. I haven't had a problem with it. It's usually alright. If you get him up to 10% health, everybody always pops supers and starts shooting rockets and hitting with swords. You should kill Darkblade really, really fast and have no problem. Once you do that, you're basically done with the exotic sword quest. Then you gotta go to the tower, go to Shaxx, and he will gift you with this amazingness of the RAZE-LIGHTER. Now this weapon has to be by far the highest damage weapon in the back. What I recommend doing is just dumping a bunch of motes of light. It takes like 15 motes of light to fully upgrade the sword. You get the right trigger ability, you get all the ammo, you get the armor. Highly recommend it, it's very useful, and you should definitely get it. So now we get into the part of the actual review. I apologize again for just having to tell you guys, it is just a lengthy process, and it's important to tell you guys how to get this, as well as review the weapon, and how it all works and all that, whatchamacallit. So starting off, this weapon is a solar burn weapon. This weapon does more damage than any of the other 2 swords, even though it doesn't say it does. The other 2 swords do about like 4,000 damage a hit on the regular hit. The fire sword does like 6,000 damage, as well as the fact that the right trigger ability, which is the Phoenix like uppercut or something, is a lot more powerful. That thing does like 13,000 damage, like twice. Sometimes it does it 3 times. I'm not really too sure how it works. I think it's twice. I may mistake it sometimes. It depends how close you are to the enemy, how much health the enemy has, how much of an ultra he is. Fire, uppercut, sword, uses 5 ammo per right trigger. It does a lot of damage. The regular swings of it do more damage than the regular version. And of course, when you finish the exotic quest, you don't lose a legendary, by the way. One thing I wanted to mention is that the aesthetics of this weapon are very, very good. It looks like the other sword, except for it's got these little spikes on it that look like this scimitar with spikes. One thing I wanted to say is that I didn't like is the fact of how much the fire covered the sword. Obviously, solar sword should be on fire, but it completely just wrecks the entire design of the sword. You can't actually see most of the actual sword. All those little spikes and stuff are very hidden behind the fire, which I do not like about the weapon. I like to be able to see this design. I like to see how cool it is and how spiky and how like it would totally poke out my eye or something. That's one thing I gotta say is the look of the sword is great. Don't hide it. It should be on fire. It definitely should be. But I don't think it should be as on fire as it is, or maybe it should be on fire in a different way because it looks beautiful and it's kind of hidden by its fire. As far as survivability goes with this sword, it's you attack one enemy with your right trigger, whereas the void attacks many attacks. You have to be right next to the enemy. It does lunge into the enemy, which is very nice, but it only attacks, like I said, one target at a time. Where every single sword has its perks and quirks and abilities that make it better or worse. Obviously, the arc sword has range, we can shoot the little right trigger range. The void sword has AoE, where it can hit everybody in the circle around you, which also lunges, by the way. I think I forgot to mention that. And of course, the solar sword just does a lot of damage, as well as just doing to a single target. If you guys are looking for the sword that does the most damage, the solar sword is the best sword. What I recommend personally is the void sword. Now, I may say this in kind of obviously a bit biased here, considering that I have the arc and I have the void sword. But I definitely like the way the void sword looks. I kind of thought about it, and I really like the way how thick the void sword is, whereas the fire sword is kind of cut out with those spikes, which are actually kind of hidden by the fire. And it just kind of, the void sword just looks like this buster sword on your back. It's huge. I love how big it is. Ladies, let me tell you, you guys know, how being big is important, and it's just really a lot of fun to actually use this giant thing and feel like a god while wielding it. The perks on it are very obvious. You saw before, you get more armor while holding the sword. You can guard with the left trigger. You can get more ammo capacity. You can make it so your right trigger gets more damage, or you can make it so you actually get more super energy from killing minions with these heavy weapon. That's actually a pretty good perk. I might have to replace my ammo capacity. I'm not too sure. I like ammo capacity, so I'm going to keep that on personally. But it is a very good upgrade if you do not want ammo capacity or you do not care for it. All in all, I would say as a heavy weapon, this is definitely an 8 or 9 out of 10. You could not use it against bosses. I tried using it against Volastaric. It just would not work. Their melee attacks, their detonation attacks, bosses will rip you apart with this sword. Not to say that the void sword would do any better, but obviously the arc sword would do a lot better because of its range and all that stuff. But it definitely does do a lot of damage. If you can get to the point where they're not doing a melee or catch them when they just finished their melee, you can do a lot of damage with this sword. But if somebody melees you, you're done. You're very, very much dead. Especially if you're not a Titan, you don't have that extra armor, and you pretty much die in one hit from Volastaric no matter what. Which is what I've learned recently with Halo King and his inability to survive Volastaric. One hit me every single time, and I feel embarrassed by it. But that's pretty much it. There's really not much more to the review. This weapon is very difficult to get, as in it takes a long time to get. It's very worth it in the end, as all those weapons go. Each weapon has their strengths and downfalls. The one downfall for this is you hit one target, and it's not very ranged. Obviously, the upfall is that it does the most damage, and it's ridiculously powerful. But anyways, that's the video for you guys today. Hope you guys did enjoy. Again, thank you for Halo King for letting me have your account for this. If you guys want to lend me your account for any specific exotic, hit me up on Twitter. It'll be like, hey, I got the chaperone. You want to check it out on my account? You can just make a phony password, like Halo King made his like vagina tubular 5000 or something. It wasn't at all like that, but it's his kind of thing. I don't care what you do. But yeah, let me know on Twitter if you guys want me to review certain weapons, and if you have them, it would be much appreciated so I could save some time. Anyways, that's been the video for you guys today. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys on the next one. Oh, and by the way, this sword is pretty much like my mixtape. Fire.